Hello, I'm in a
Science City, Kapurthala. Ma'am, please. Thank you so much. Good morning and a very warm welcome to everybody. It's a pleasure having all of you here. We have a few participants online as well as some participants are here in person. Thank you very much for joining this session. In this program, in this international conference of sustainable education, we would be speaking today about promoting innovations to achieve sustainability or promoting innovations to reach out to sustainable development. So talking about sustainability, if we really target to develop education which leads to sustainability, which motivates, and for that we need to promote out-of-box thinking. We need to appreciate out-of-box thinking amongst students and youth and the general public as well. We need to nurture ideas which may appear wild, but then which are still practical, and we need to identify ways and means to implement those ideas, and also motivate more so that, and set up examples so that more and more people are motivated to take up those ideas. They are motivated to implement them, and we also need to identify ways and means to commercialize those ideas. Come from youth and children, and most of the original ideas come from youth and children. Today morning, we have seen some of the children who got some awards. Some of the ideas may not be may not be original, but they were still innovative. They were still implementable. And I think they were very inspiring, and especially inspiring for people like us, for seniors, who are really awestruck at how our children think these days and how they try and implement things these days. So if we look at most of the ideas, they come from youth and from children. For example, who would have ever thought that you would need not own a single car and yet you run a transport business? Who would think of Uber? But Uber was thought by Garrett Camp as well as by Travis Kalanick. And Garrett Camp, at the time he set up Uber, was only 31 years old. So similarly, a very, very Indian example, who would ever think, at least my generation never thought like that you, without having a hotel, you run a hotel business. But it was a young boy, Ritesh Agrawal, an Indian. At the age of 20 years, he set up the Oyo business. So these are very inspiring stories for all of us. We have a lot of examples based on technology as well. For example, involving these technologies which involve carbon capture, which involve carbon storage. Then technologies, I recently looked at a technology which was generating energy from the movement of air on the highways when trucks and buses and traffic passes through it. So they have designed motors which could produce that energy, which could at least partially provide energy to lighten up the highway at night. So those types of examples, similarly, I think in one of the cities, I don't remember exactly, was it Indore or Surat, but then at the entry of the railway station, they have put a small structure. So everybody has to cross through that. It's kind of a small bridge. And just by the movement of people on it, electricity is produced, which partially feeds the railway station. So these are wonderful ideas, and these ideas have been brought forth by youth. There was another wonderful idea which I was reading, which was about bromine, which is the use of coffee beans extract the use of coffee waste actually to produce fuel. And at the same time, of whatever is left, it's all into circular economy. Whatever is left is then used to make coffee logs and coffee pellets, which can be further used in small boilers or in small bhattis. Similarly, there's a beautiful idea of toast ale. Now, toast ale is many of these companies which produce bread, many of the confectionery units, they do not use the sides of the bread which they produce. And those sides have been picked up by a young entrepreneur to develop into a business to ferment it and produce a drink. So which they call it as toast ale. So these are some wonderful examples, but at the same time, there are a number of examples which are by little children also. For example, there is this example of a small boy whose mother, while working in the kitchen, always wanted to keep the tablet in front of her, which kept falling. So this little child designed a tablet holder with the help of with the help of his Lego blocks. So who could have thought about that but a child who is playing with those blocks? Then we have the example of this boy called Akash Manoj, who developed a skin patch to detect the change in proteins in the body. Through your wrist, the skin patch can be put on your wrist, and it can detect whether a person could get or was prone to heart attack in a few hours. And this he did when he saw his grandfather have a heart attack. So he did not want other children to see their grandparent dying like that. Similarly, we have this, there are umpteen number of examples. We have this girl, Shalini Kumari, who has worked on an adjustable walker because her grandmother was very old. She could not move up the stairs. And this girl's room in the house was upstairs, and she wanted her grandmother to come and visit her room. Such lovely examples. Also, many examples come from rural areas. Example of a child who developed a color-coded thermometer just because his grandmother could not read or write. But then she knew that if the temperature is at the yellow level, the grandmother does not need to give any medicine to anybody. If it is orange, then some medicine has to be given, a dose was decided. And if it is red, that means the temperature is very, very high. And you actually need to go to the doctor. So these types of innovations are there. There are so many of them. And today I'm privileged to have with us Dr. Anil Gupta, who has actually worked with some of these children and who has actually identified many of these innovations. A very warm welcome, Dr. Gupta. Dr. Gupta is the chair of this session. He was to be here with us today, but due to certain, he was busy elsewhere. He has not been able to join us, but he has very graciously joined us online. So Dr. Gupta, can we see you? Dr. Anil Gupta? He is there. We saw him. He has joined. Yes, please check. Could you please call him and check? Because he is online, so either there is a connectivity issue. Along with Dr. Anil Gupta, we also have speakers. We have Dr. Huma Abidi. She is from Intel Corporation, and she would not be joining physically. She's joining online because she's located at Santa Clara in California. We have Dr. Meeta Goswami. She is presently in Mongolia. And we have two very eminent speakers here with me today. Mr. Prateek Deshmukh, who is from the Atal Innovation Mission. And many of you would have heard about Atal Tinkering Labs. So he is the one who manages those labs for all of us throughout the country. He is one of their team members. We also have with us Madam Sharda. And Madam Sharda is running a wonderful program on sustainability education in Punjab. So you don't have his number? ये मैंने आपको दिया था? I have to give the take this. So I would suggest that till the time Dr. Gupta joins, maybe we could have the talk of Dr. Huma Abidi. Huma is traveling, so she has recorded her message and her presentation. And may I request the organizers to please run Huma's presentation, Huma Abidi. Pardon? Okay, so I'm told that Dr. Gupta is logging in again. So we'll just wait for a moment for him to join. Till the time he joins, let me introduce him. Dr. Gupta is the chair of this session. He is very passionate about scouting, spawning, and supporting green, grassroots, frugal innovations. And he is helping corporations in changing their innovation DNA. Dr. Gupta is also working for commercial application of traditional knowledge as well as innovations and public policy in this area. Dr. Gupta is the founder of the Honeybee Network, and he is retired from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, but he continues to address the students there as well as at IIT Bombay. He has also held an executive vice chair position at the National Innovation Foundation and is a fellow of the World Academy of Arts and Science. Dr. Gupta is famous for his several Shodh Yatras or research works. And when I was in the State Department of Science and Technology, got the privilege of meeting him when he undertook a Shodh Yatra in Punjab, which was way back in the early 2005 or 6 something. So since then we have known him, and now he is helping the Pushpa Gujral Science City, where I am presently located, to help our students think innovatively and he helps us in identifying their good innovative ideas and how to take them forward. He's guiding us on that. Dr. Gupta is a Padma Shri, which he got in 2004. And in the same year, he also received the Science and Society Award. In 2000, he received the Asian Innovation Award, and he has been a Pew Conservation Scholar at the University of Michigan in USA. Dr. Gupta, please. Professor Gupta, can you hear us?
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Sir.
I'll be there, I'm sure. The meeting is going on very well, and I was there. I just left for a few minutes before. Nilima, I am happy to see that there are many children here, and they're also faculty members. So I'll be brief. I'll try to talk for 15 minutes and share with you some thoughts on how do we bring the sustainability concerns in education, and what can we as a student, as a scholar, as a teacher, as a policymaker do to make our education more responsive to the changing climate conditions, changing environmental conditions, changing just one second. It's very important that we, first of all, realize that sustainability requires us to observe restraint in our use of resources. So what happens is that if we want to consume, and in the process create a lot of waste, so much waste that Earth does not have a space to store it or process it, then surely there is no sustainability sustainability is not going to be there. Sustainability also requires us to be concerned about future generation. And that would mean that whenever we consume resources, we do not overexploit them beyond the limit of renewability, what is called as maximum sustainable yield. So let's say if you extract groundwater in the campus where I taught for 40 or odd years, since 81 in IMA, water table was going down every year by 12 feet, 11 to 12 feet. Now you can imagine, in a campus, if the water table is going down in about 4 decades that I've been observing this, how much of water table would have gone down, right? 400 to 500 feet easily. 500 feet water goes down, and rainwater is not enough to recharge it. So naturally, we are debiting the account of nature more and crediting it less, so it will be overdraft. This overdraft of natural resources is not sustainable. It applies to resources like water, it applies to biodiversity, it applies to all natural resources. Now, how do we bring this concern to nature? So I'm just coming back from Sikkim, and I had taken 30 students of IMA in a course called a Shodh Yatra along with my colleague, Professor Navdeep Mathur. And we were walking for last 1 week, walking from village to village. And why were we walking? These kids of our institute are going to be the top leaders in the corporate world. They'll be heading big companies around the world after a few years. Why is it necessary for them to walk and suffer voluntarily after paying the cost themselves in the hills where there were a lot of leeches, lot of rain, lot of leeches. Their shoes will get wet and not dry for a few days. Their clothes will get wet and there will be leeches in their shoes and leg and sucking the blood. All of that. And they will fall down many times because they will slip. You can imagine any stony path with algae on it or moss on it will become very slippery in the rainy season. Now, why they have to go through this? They have to go through what I call as voluntary suffering. I would apply this lesson to all of you. There are students of class 8th, 10th here. And my advice to all of you is that if you really want to understand what is, or develop what is called as samvedana, then you will have to learn to suffer voluntarily. This is the first advice I will give. We, as a teacher, it's our duty to help our students go through samvedana. What is samvedana? Sam means equal, Vedana means pain. And if you are going through pain voluntarily, not only what you're experiencing, but you're also feeling the pain of others. The children who come from long distance walking to the school, and our students saw these kids, small kids of primary school, walking long distance to get education. And they realized that these kids must be feeling very tired because they come in such a long distance, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers one way. So then when you feel the pain of someone else as severely or as intensely as that person feels it, it doesn't remain that person's pain, it becomes your pain. To reduce this pain, you try to follow सर्जनशीलता, creativity. संवेदना से सृजनशीलता का जब जन्म होता है तो हमारा समाज टिकाऊ विकास की तरफ मूव करता है. We start moving step by step towards sustainable future because we are now trying to do some creative or innovative act to reduce the pain, not just of someone else. Now it has become my pain. And what is the motivation? The motivation is swantah sukhaya, for my own happiness. So you're not doing any favor to someone. So if you notice that women and men have to carry huge biomass in the basket on the back, and they collect it and put it in the bag, and then carry it on the slopes or upward and downward, climb on the slope. It hurts. It hurts on the lower back. Here, the basket hurts the back. Can it be made more comfortable? Can we do something? Can we attach a wheel to the basket so that not entire load is on my back? Some of it is transferred to the single wheel. What can be done? How do I take rest on the way? Is there a resting platform? I will tell you a story of 1898. And these stories need to be told to our children in every school, in every college. Only then we would be able to make a difference. So how do we make a difference? So this story is that Bhagwan Singh Ji, the king of Gondal, was driving towards his palace. On the way, he saw some women carrying load on their head. So he asked his minister, what happens? How do they take rest? The minister said, sir, they don't take rest because if they bring the load down, as the physiology of women is that if they lift it alone, the navi gir jati hai, the navel shifts, so therefore they will have a lot of pain. And somebody else may be there, may not be there. If nobody is there, then they will have to wait till somebody comes to lend a hand. King said, all right. He made Vishamo, that means shoulder height platforms at every mile. We saw similar platforms in Rameshwaram. Recently in our Shodhyatra in summer, when we went to Rameshwaram, our 47th walk was in Rameshwaram. There also we saw these platforms. So in different parts of the country, apparently rulers at one time recognized this pain. They couldn't remove it, but they made it bearable. So now you bend downward, put the load on the platform, get your breath, hold refresh yourself for a few minutes. Then bend down, put the load on the head and walk. Even if you're alone, now you can walk. This is an example of an empathetic solution for women who have to carry huge load on their head for long distance and would not be able to take a rest if they were alone and had nobody to lend a hand. There are many such examples. So it is not that we have never been concerned about making our society more inclusive and more compassionate. We have been. Only thing is, in the recent past, our obsession, our concern with our own needs, our own desires overtook the need of the society, need of the environment, need of the community, need of the animals, need of the wildlife, need of the birds, need of the squirrel, need of the ants. And this concern, which has become weaker over a period of time, required us to recall certain traditions, which were very strong in our family. And maybe, and I would like you to raise hand, those of you who follow this practice, you know, the first bread we cook, do we eat it? Anybody's family where the first bread is not eaten but given to birds, animals, cow, dogs? Anybody raise hand? Raise hand if somebody is there. At least those who are online. I'm sure there'll be people in the hall who would follow this practice, but very few maybe. But why can't it be a universal practice? Let there every day there be a reminder to us that whatever we are consuming, there is a share of nature. And it needs to go every time we eat a mouthful of the food or bread. Every time. This practice will educate us better than any amount of lectures, any number of lectures, any number of courses or whatever have you. So I would suggest that as a teacher, our responsibility is to bring simple steps, which will remind us every day of what our responsibility to nature is. What is our responsibility to the perfect stranger? Who is perfect stranger? Unknown and unknowable. Who is unknown and unknowable? Future generation. We don't know what their preferences will be, but they're not here. They can't vote in our decision making. So responsibility towards perfect stranger is the sine qua non of a sustainable future. And incorporating that responsibility in the education system to create that consciousness is very important. So during COVID, our team at GYAN, Grassroots Innovation Augmentation Network, Gujarat Grassroots Innovation Augmentation Network, first incubator of the world for grassroots, set up in '97. They sent seeds to about 250 teachers and requested them to sow them in the campus. So that when children come back to the school after COVID-19, they might find the campus green. And there is no campus where you can't put a canister or a few boxes and put the seed in them of the creepers of various vines. So nobody can say there is no space. There is always a little space. On the roof, there is a space. So teachers did it. Next year, there was demand for 1,000 schools. That's demand driven. And the seeds started spreading. Now, there is no reason why children couldn't be given maybe 1 square foot space in the campus of every school in groups and let them grow whatever they want to grow with their hands. You know, K. Munshi, Kanhaiya Munshi, our first food and agriculture minister, 1952, gave a lecture called as Gospel of Dirty Hand. Gospel of Dirty Hand. And he talked about how soil and soul get connected. Our children must know how to connect soil and soul. They must soil their hands. And I will not accept this argument that in our campus there's not enough space. Then you take some old empty boxes, hang them on the wall. Space is created. Hang the bottles on the wall. There is no dearth of a space for growing plant. It is, if there's a limitation is in the mind, not physically, cognitively, imagine. So one of us, even if you live in a flat, you have windows. From windows, you can hang a bottle and many bottles. I mean, you can grow plants in them or boxes or whatever else that you wish to do. There are always possibilities of growing. Few seedlings, few creepers, few flowers, few plants, few fruits. And we need to do that. And this is another way in which we can show our concern to nature and also see how the life grows, multiplies. So there are several small such steps. Similarly, every school, every college, every institute, every university must on its wall outside the campus give a water budget. How much rain fell in the campus boundary? How much was stored? How much of water was used in the bathrooms or in the dormitories in the hostel? How much was it cleaned? Which water is used to irrigate the lawns? I must tell you honestly, I'll make a confession. In our campus, for example, same water was used for irrigating lawns, the one that we drank, that we use for drinking. It's not fair. We must try to repurpose the bathing water, kitchen water, and use it for the garden. What's the problem in that? Or sanitation. So if we give a water budget, amount of water stored, amount of water consumed, amount of water recycled, amount of water repurposed every year, that would educate our children and our citizens better than any amount of lectures and circulars on why environment needs to be conserved and so on. So sustainability education requires, or the education for sustainability requires real, simple, hard actions that are measurable, actions that are easy to implement, actions that don't require any policy change. You don't need anybody's direction from UGC or AICTE, or for that matter, from any other, from Ministry of Education or anybody else. You don't need permission to monitor the use of water in your campus, or for that matter, the waste segregation, or for anything else about thing that you want to do. Nobody needs any permission to do something good, something noble, something useful, something real. We need to do that. And we can do it. And all of us can do that. The next step is that if you are building a new campus, at least 0.001% of the space should be left, should be fenced. Small patches should be fenced and left untouched for native biodiversity to grow. The insects, butterflies, the birds. Let that just 1 square meter patch be fenced and let it grow, whatever grows there. Weeds, so-called plant, trees, whatever. So that our grandchildren would like to know this concrete jungle, how was it before it was concretized? And they might find those small patches of native biodiversity. Oh, this is the kind of species, these are the kind of species that used to grow here. They will learn. And maybe they will find some uses of those plants which we don't know as yet. So what we call as weed might become a crop tomorrow. There are many such plants which have been utilized like that. So another step, therefore, is that if you're building a new campus, new estate, new school, leave some space for wilderness so that our children will observe it. I can tell you, the more manicured garden you have in your home or in your institute or in your campus, the less fertilized your mind is going to be. Mind requires diversity. Sustainability requires diversity. And diversity requires tolerance for differences, for variability, cultural diversity, ideological diversity, biological diversity, linguistic diversity, all kinds of diversities. So if you allow some of this wilderness to be there around, some small patches, I'm not saying too much of space, you need to be limited to small patches, you will notice, you will find that our mind is able to think better, our mind is able to process information better, our mind is able to remain agile and responsive to new challenges. Let me close by saying that I always tell my students that we must try to maximize uncertainty. COVID-19 has shown us and taught us that when we violate boundaries, diseases can transform from animals to human beings, and vice versa. The so-called One Health concept is becoming more and is being taken more and more seriously. So what does maximizing uncertainty mean? That means we will not only follow a path which is predictable. When I asked our students on the last day, they were walking on the road, I said, how are you feeling today? Sir, it is not as exciting as it was on the mountain when we didn't know which passage would be where and we were trying to discover our way. So I said, when the road makes everything predictable, you know what the next turn is going to be. You're not finding the challenge. Challenging ourselves is a necessary step for us to be concerned, curious, and creative. To be concerned, curious, and creative. And this will require us to be able to collaborate with each other and develop solutions that are sustainable. So my suggestion would be that let us try to focus on small steps that we can take, steps that can help us to remind ourselves every day what our responsibility for nature is, steps that bring authenticity in our behavior. We practice what we preach, and we try to provide or at least incorporate a small part of nature in everyday life when we cook food, when we consume water, when we wash hands, when we use water for various purposes. We think as to what will be the destiny of this water. Where would it go? Where would it end? And then if we start asking those questions, we don't have to then labor too much the point about education. Education is in our practice. Education is what we do, not what we preach. And that is the way, to my mind, our children and our teachers, all of us together, can discover new ways of responsible, respectful, and supportive of the nature and its place in our life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful, especially your suggestions with respect to the taking small steps to achieve sustainability. And I really like the Logan Samvedna says Srijanshilta. It does make a lot of sense, especially and especially between communities. You were also talking about wilderness, keeping patches of wilderness. Very recently, just 15 days ago, I was at IIT Chennai, and I was really impressed by the kind of work they are doing for making, in fact, at places where they already had some houses, and those houses needed to be refurbished. Instead of refurbishing them, they have decided to keep that area as a wilderness area, and they have built they've started moving vertically instead of spreading horizontally. So I think there are a number of examples in front of us, and we all thank you so much, sir. And with your permission, I would like to invite the next speaker. We would also request you, sir, to after all the talks are finished, for your special remarks on them. So I now take this opportunity to introduce to all of you Huma Abidi. Huma is General Manager and Senior Director at AI Software Products and Engineering at Intel. And she's responsible for strategy, roadmaps, requirement, benchmarking of deep learning, machine learning, and analytical software. She is a two-time recipient of Intel's highest honor, which is the Intel Achievement Award, and 3 times recipient of Intel Software Quality Award. She's not only an industry champion, she is also very passionate about women's education and how AI can support various aspects of sustainability. She is a master's from the University of Massachusetts, and she would be speaking on AI and sustainability. So I request the organizers to kindly uh, uh, put on her talk so that we can hear to what she has to say. Presently, she is traveling, so she has not been able to come personally, even online, but she has sent a talk to us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Huma Abidi. I am the General Manager and Senior Director of AI Software Products, Artificial Intelligence
can't see
Software
her video.
Products at Intel. So thank you for inviting me to this talk on International Congress of Sustainability Education. I'm joining here from California, the USA. And I would like to talk about AI and sustainability. My area is working on AI and the topic is sustainability. I have a short talk and a couple of points that I would like to share with you. So this point, some of you might have seen before. This is basically saying AI is everywhere. We are already seeing that AI is making an impact on our daily life. Some of it is very obvious, some of it may not be that obvious. But the possibility of this class of technologies is pretty much limitless. So here you are seeing a variety, a multitude of different industries where AI is helping solve huge challenges. Along with the customer stories, these are real customers in these areas that we're working with, from agriculture all the way to transport, and it's just growing. So the point that I want to make is that with the increasing urgent discussions of climate change, global warming, there's also a growing awareness of the importance of sustainable activities. And AI can be and already is an important tool in the effort to adopt responsible business practices. We are definitely living in exciting times. It's now possible to tackle some of these world's biggest problems with technologies such as AI. It is time to put AI to work for the planet. And again, there's a lot of attempt, there's a lot of work going on to support that. And AI is definitely a powerful tool to combat these big environmental issues. However, AI is also a contributor to emissions, and that is something that we need to pay attention to. And the third point I would like to make in the subsequent slide is that making AI greener, which means reducing the carbon footprint of AI solutions, is something that that is a very increasingly hot area and something that we should all pay attention to. So this is another point which is from the World Economic Forum, which is showing Earth-friendly AI, meaning in all of these areas, AI is making a huge impact, whether it's climate change, whether it's biodiversity conversation, healthy oceans, water, clean air, weather forecast, all of these areas, AI is already making an impact, and more work is being done, so the impact is even more so. So some examples are, we start with the first one, autonomous, where the number two, smart transport options, autonomous and connected electric vehicles. There's so much progress that has been made, and it will even more so enable mobility on demand in the next few years. Sustainable greenhouse gas reductions, traffic optimization, all of these things, again, AI making a huge impact. Distributed energy grid, AI can enhance the predictability and demand of renewable energies, improving energy storage, efficiency, load management. These are the things where AI is helping a lot. Then let's talk about smart agriculture and food systems. So AI enhanced, or I should say AI augmented agriculture involves automated data collection, decision-making and corrective actions through robots, which can allow early detection of crop diseases, issues, to provide timed nutrition to livestock, and basically just optimizing the inputs related to agriculture to return and returns based on supply and demand. So some other examples are lowering the use of water, fertilizer, pesticides, which can cause damage to our ecosystem. So those are some really good examples. And another area that we are learning more and more about is that AI is fundamentally transforming weather forecasting and improving our understanding of effects of climate change. This will naturally traditionally required, high performance and etc. So AI is making a huge impact in that. Another area is the smart disaster response. We saw some of those examples during the COVID-19 time. So this is the Earth-friendly AI, saying that AI is making huge impact in these areas. However, there are also areas that AI is contributing to it, as I mentioned earlier. So for the past 10 years, the field of AI has reported remarkable progress on a board of range of capabilities. And these are the AI, different types of AI, like object recognition, game playing, speech recognition, machine translation. Great progress, and it is making a huge impact in pretty much every field. But much of this progress has been achieved by increasing large and computationally intensive deep learning models, right? So RED AI, it refers to AI research that is seeking to obtain state-of-the-art results in accuracy. That the model has to be more and more accurate, right? That's the whole point. But through the use of massive computational power. And that is what is AI. So AI systems are based on highly compute intensive systems, as it shows in this chart here, because they have to process a huge amount of data. The more the data, the better the results will be. And that will then again have dependence on energy to cool these compute intensive machines in the data center. Looking at this chart here, which coincidentally was produced by University of Massachusetts Computer Science. This is the same place that I did my graduate studies in. And basically it's showing a contrast between traveling from New York to San Francisco, or how much a human life will be contributing to carbon footprint, to a US car, to training an AI model. And you're saying that training one natural language processing model can produce carbon dioxide equivalent of 5 times the lifetime emission of American car. American cars are notoriously known for a lot of carbon emission. And this is saying it's 5x of one training one model. It's that much, or equivalent of 300 round trip between San Francisco and New York, doing of the USA. So that's how much it costs to train a model, a natural language processing model. So what is the solution? The solution is green AI. Green AI, green or deep learning, deep AI is an increasingly hot research field that is appealing to researchers, but others to pay attention to energy usage and carbon emission during model training and inference. So the goal is to come up with novel results with lightweight, efficient technologies. So as it said in this slide, the term green AI refers to the area, again, as something that I just mentioned. They take that the results that take into account the computation costs, encouraging reduction in the resources spent. When RED AI has resulted in rapidly escalating computational costs, green AI is promoting the trade-off between performance and efficiency. So I would like to stop here, but I hope that I was able to make these points that these huge problems that we're facing in environment can be tackled by AI. And AI is a powerful tool that combats these major environmental issues, but it's also a contributor to it. And in order to combat that, we should be paying more attention to red AI. And making green AI greener is the solution to that. Thank you very much.
Of use of a lot of data. So, and the emphasis definitely needs to move on from red AI to green AI. Now I would like to invite Mr. Pratik Deshmukh. A very warm welcome to you for being here personally. Mr. Deshmukh is the innovation lead at the Atal Innovation Mission at Niti Aayog. And he is an IITian and from ISB Hyderabad. As a true IITian, he has always sort of tackling every challenge which has come his way. And prior to joining Niti Aayog, he was in the construction and real estate industry, where he developed his skills for adaptability, proficiency, and leadership, which he has very effectively used at Niti Aayog while running the ATLs all over the country. I must congratulate you and your team for also achieving the target of setting up 10,000 ATLs throughout the country. Your target was to complete them by July, which the mission has achieved. So many congratulations for that. And you are actually inspiring a large number of students across the country. The only thing which I feel is that we need to energize our students much more. You have already impacted lives of more than 7 million students. So I hope instead next time when we meet, it would be 17 million. So thank you so much for joining, and I welcome you and invite you to give your talk. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pratik. I am representing Atal Innovation Mission from Niti Aayog. How many of you know Niti Aayog? Nice. Okay, so everyone knows it, so I won't tell you about it. So Niti Aayog basically is a recommendatory body. It has an advisory role, and it's a think tank for Government of India. But Atal Innovation Mission under Niti Aayog focuses more on execution aspects. The target for Atal Innovation Mission was to create an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship in the country. And it had to be done using different programs and initiatives. So what the target was to create an ecosystem. So the journey starts from children. You catch them young. It started with the program Atal Tinkering Labs, where we focus on children from class 6 to 10th. We try to inculcate that spirit of innovation in them. This journey then carries on into Atal Incubation Centers and Atal Community Innovation Centers, which focuses on promoting startups, which further culminates into Atal New India Challenges, which is basically the national level challenges that the country is facing. So these challenges are based on problem statements, which we work with different ministries. So basically, these are top level problem statements that the country is facing. So how this journey ties up together is these children who are now being taught about different uh, ways of solving problems. These students go on to become entrepreneurs, which are supported by our incubators, which then go on to create their startups and solve these national problems. So that was the original vision, and we have I can say proudly that we are seeing results. Some of our teams from ATLs are incubated in incubation centers, and are also selected under Atal New India Challenges for their initiatives. So this is everything is getting tied up. Now what we want is that these budding entrepreneurs should give back to this system, act as mentors, and guide the students and the startups through this journey. The new addition to Atal Innovation Mission is Vernacular Innovation Program, where our target is to make innovation free from linguistic barriers. Currently, you might be knowing that innovation is limited only to people who can speak English or maximum Hindi. But what about people who are in certain rural areas where they speak only their local vernacular language? How do they get access to all this information? So that is the target of Vernacular Innovation Program, where we have created 22 cohorts in all scheduled languages of Indian Constitution. And these cohorts are then trained on different topics, which they further disseminate in the local language in their respective areas. So this is the entire journey of AIM as of now. Uh, let's talk about Atal Tinkering Labs. I'll give you a brief about what it is all about. So Atal Tinkering Labs was set up with a vision to spark that innovation spirit among the students. This focuses on class 6th because we want them to start early, because by the time they come to class 9th and 10th, the board exams and all those things start coming up in their minds. But when you catch them young, if they are able to if you can motivate them to get hang of this innovation, and you can train them on all the traits that are required for their future sustenance, then you have achieved your target. So as ma'am had pointed out, we have created 10,000 ATLs. We are present in 700 districts, and we are in government schools, private schools. There are like we get questions that are they only limited to particular areas or schools, but we have tried to cover as much area and as many types of schools as we could, and we are under process to further expand from 10,000, and our target is universal accessibility. uh, so how it looks like is it's a 1,500 square feet area where we provide children access to latest equipment. This includes 3D printing, mechanical desk, electronic tools. Uh, so as Professor Anil Gupta was talking about, we need to work on ground to get our hand dirty to connect to nature. So the vision here was similar: learning by doing. Currently, most of the learning happens through your mind, but this is a place where we want children to learn by their hands as well as their mind. But things never go as you want. COVID threw everything for a toss. So even we had to innovate. So although these labs had to be closed for a few years, but the program did not stop. We pivoted towards developing digital skills among the students, which is a need of our. The future is in digital. So now the students are trained how to be proficient in digital skills. And now that schools have started, again, they can come back to the tinkering. So the mix of digital and physical is giving some remarkable results. Let's see how an ATL looks like.
With an aim to provide opportunities for the children in our country, Niti Aayog has initiated a unique program, the Atal Tinkering Lab, presenting to you the first Atal Tinkering Lab in India. The lab has been set up keeping the key elements of being open, flexible, and safe. The rooms have customized, flexible, and easy-to-use workstations that provide the right space and environment to tinker and innovate. The lab is furnished with modular and movable furniture to facilitate better collaboration and teamwork to get the students to share and work together on interesting projects. The lab has been prepared to provide options and opportunities for various levels of tinkering, creating, innovating based on students' inclination. It has been equipped with multiple tools, including series of sensors, microcontroller boards, relays, motors, wires, USBs, etc. These labs are an initiative towards building our next generation of innovators and leaders by equipping them with future skills like tech creation and enabling them to be solution providers.
So let's think about this. When we started this program, we did not want something that adds burden to a student. We wanted it to be a voluntary thing. So we have not kept any examination. There are no marks given or anything. It has to come. You have to make student want to come to the lab. It should not be forced like any other lab that you have to come. It is that the student would want to come. So one important shift in narrative through ATL, what we are trying to bring is, in your traditional curriculum, a student is already given a solution to a problem. When they are taught in class, you tell them a problem, you already give them a solution, you ask the solution in examination. So that is how they are evaluated. But in ATLs, there are no solutions given. Problems come before solutions. You encourage students to look around them, look around their surrounding, identify problems. You have given them all this equipment, just leave them, ask them to tinker and figure out solutions for these problems. Even if they are not able to come out with solutions, they will learn a lot through this entire process of trying to find a solution to the problem. Just to give you a context, we had an innovation for women's safety, where there was a sensor in the footwear, and whenever a woman feels threatened, it can tap loudly, and that sensor would send some SOS signals to the emergency contacts and all. This is a problem which every girl or woman might feel that is a prevalent problem in the country. But this solution was given to us by a boys team. So you can understand that when children are motivated to look around for problems, their vision broadens. They are able to see these problems which are not typically related to them personally, but in their surrounding. So that was the vision that we wanted to put in the students, that look for the problems, look into the only your local areas in your community and try to figure out solutions. Now, an important aspect of this program in developing this ecosystem was partners, because this is something which cannot be done just by the government or any particular body. You need all the stakeholders for this initiative to succeed. So we have been fortunate enough to have top corporates as our partners. We have created different avenues through which these partners can contribute, such as ATL adoption program, where these companies come and adopt different ATLs and they provide their experts, they train the teachers, they give opportunities to students to come visit their companies to look how things actually work. We have created a formal program, Student Innovator Program, where top teams from our flagship competition, ATL Marathon, teams are selected. They go to our incubators, they go to these top corporate companies, and these companies and incubators then teach them, these children, that how can they convert their idea into a workable prototype. So you just think about it for a moment. You would have heard college students going for internships, but never school students getting such opportunities of looking behind the veil of how things are actually working on ground. They may have multiple ideas, but how do you convert this idea into a prototype and into a product that can be ultimately useful for someone? The Student Innovator Program then culminates into Student Entrepreneurship Program, which is a 10 to 11 month of a total dedicated dedicated support to the students to create, to identify an idea, to work on that idea, to develop a prototype, to market that prototype, and to pitch it in front of a panel of judges or investors. So throughout this journey, they learn how to identify problems, how to create, how to get an idea of how that problem can be solved, how to convert that idea into a workable prototype, how to market that prototype, and how it can be implemented on ground, and how to pitch this entire journey to a third person, to convince that third person, yes, this idea will work on ground, and to support that idea. So this is the entire journey that a school student is going through. So you can imagine that when that student finally comes into that work environment, how equipped that person would be, and what kind of a resource that person would be for our nation. So the top 8 teams of our program had a chance to meet the ex-president now. Now, how can you contribute to this program? So for this, we have created a Mentor India program. I talked about it before, where the successful people need to give back to the system by mentoring the students and the startups. So this is especially for ATL students, where we encourage professionals from different fields, be it doctors, engineers, professors. We have a network of more than 5,800 mentors who help these schools, help these students. And so what you get out of this is that you get access to this mentor network. You get opportunity to nurture these young minds and train the future leaders of our country. These are certain super mentors that we have. Ma'am has mentioned few names: Ritesh Agarwal, the Indian Uber founder, Ola founder, Mr. Bhavesh. These are all the super mentors that we have, who have given their valuable guidance to the students. So my only request from this session would be that please contribute to this movement, become a mentor, guide these students, because we have a network of 10,000 students, 10,000 schools. Some schools are in difficult areas, and we really can we can really do with some help from all of you. And this is a platform for sustainable development. Most of our problems that we give to our students are based on the SDGs, so that the student become aware of not only what is happening in their surrounding area, but what is happening on the global scale. So thank you for hearing patiently.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful talk. And I'm sure a lot of us would be much more interested in what you are doing. If there are any questions, it's open for discussion.
So we come out with applications every month for Mentor. It usually comes on our website, aim.gov.in. And if you still don't get it, you can take my email ID, you can mail me. I'll be happy to share the link to the form. Yeah, so PRATEEK prateek.aim@nic.in. prateek.aim@nic.in. Yes. So we had a mandate of setting 10,000 ATLs. So we have actually hit that number. And so currently we don't have the budget to set up more ATLs. But if you want to know the requirements, it is basically a space of 1,500 square feet in plain areas and 1,000 square feet in hilly areas. Typically, we would want a maths or a science teacher to be the ATL in charge, but it's not mandatory. But because they have some sort of background in it, so we encourage it. Other than that, there are few infrastructurally, we would want the school to have physics lab, chemistry lab, because there are some equipment which can be used from those labs. So these are the major infrastructural requirements. Other than that, for eligibility criteria, we have created more parameters such as student performance, attendance, and all those things. But infrastructurally, you need these things. When we open the applications, then yes, school apply, then we take them through this process of compliance and all those things. But currently we have not opened any applications, and let's see, once we get some approvals from the top, maybe we are planning for the expansion. Yes. Actually, we have not mandated anything to the schools, but every school is doing it as per their convenience. So some schools have kept us 2-hour period every week where the students come and do the lab activities. Some keep it open after school hours for those who are interested can stay back. Some have kept Saturdays, most of them have half days. So the second half of Saturdays as the ATL period. So it varies from school to school. So we are not mandating anything that you have to do this. Yeah, please. Yes. Yes, that is something that we emphasize on, that you as an ATL should not be the only beneficiary. You should keep your labs open to your surrounding schools. So community involvement is very important for this program, because even they learn when students from surrounding areas come to their schools. It is a mutual learning movement kind of a thing. So we strongly encourage it. We have this special day on B.R. Ambedkar's birthday. We celebrate it as ATL Community Day, where every school has to invite students from surrounding community schools or using a help of an NGO. So they have to keep their lab open and celebrate that day as Community Day. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So actually, both the questions are tied up. So yes, we have the celebration aspect of this program, where we have a wall of fame, where every quarter we publish success stories of different schools. We have these different competitions, like I mentioned, ATL marathon. The top teams from this marathon go for internship with top corporates and incubators through student innovator program. And further, the top teams go for student entrepreneurship program, where they get a 10 to 11 month a full on training from idea to marketable. So and the top teams also get opportunities, like you saw that they met the ex-president. Whenever we have chance to showcase our innovations, because we get a lot of invites to showcase the innovations, so we take these students, we uh, have the have their innovations displayed. For example, we had the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebration by AIM. So we had these stalls from different startups and different students. So students could showcase their products. The startups could showcase their innovations. So we try and give all these opportunities so that they get a lot of visibility. Some students have got patents, so we give them media publicity. They get to meet the top leadership of Niti Aayog. They get special recognition from CEO and vice chairman of Niti Aayog. So we try as much as we can to give them that celebrity aspect, so that it becomes an aspirational thing.
There was a question just
Yes,
now.
yes.
Yes, you're right. The question was that if they had a trained teacher who has
Okay.
retired, so can they get some training or some help once again?
So now that we have reached the number of 10,000, it becomes very difficult to do everything physically or even virtually for 10,000. So that's why the focus has been to create the resources which can be helpful for all, in terms of self-learning guides, in terms of tutorials, in terms of different modules, so the teachers can train themselves. So these modules are created by top companies, top organizations. For instance, the space module has been created by ISRO. We have the gaming module by Dell. We have AI module. So all these modules are created by these top companies for students per se. So it is not very difficult to understand. So these teachers can go through these modules. They are free of cost, available on our website. We have created a teacher training activity book, so that we do get these queries that we have the lab, but we don't know what to do in the lab. So we have created the entire activity book, where the teachers can look at different activities. They can do it themselves. Then they can make students to do it with them. So these are all the self-help guides that there are. Along with that, every month or two, we try to have these online teacher training sessions for 2-3 days. But yeah, virtually it becomes difficult. I agree. Uh, Along with that, the mentor community that I requested you all to join. These mentors are key players who help these schools with technical guidance. So connecting these schools to the technical institutes in their area, because almost every state or district has some engineering college or some NIT or government colleges. So the professors or the students or the PhDs of these colleges can help out these schools. So ultimately, the the vision is to create an ecosystem, because it is very difficult to handhold every teacher sitting here in Delhi. So ultimately, we have to create that entire ecosystem where people are helping each other. But yes, for difficult areas, we are trying to do physical trainings. For instance, we are planning for training of teachers in Jammu and Kashmir. We are planning something for Northeast. So although we keep trying, the adoption program that I mentioned by the corporates, Even these corporates organize different teacher training sessions for their adopted schools. But yes, I agree that it is not, it does not cover all 10,000 schools. That's why there are these resources that we have. We have YouTube videos, we have modules, we have everything. But still, if some school faces issues, we are happy to connect them to any mentor. We have this regional mentor of change community in every state who are the most motivated mentors, and we have a regional teacher of change community who are the most active teachers who are willing to go out of their way to help ATLs of their area. So we can connect them to these communities, and I'm sure help will come from someplace.
So I have a question. One is, do you have a list of those mentors online so somebody can look at who are the mentors nearby and in which area, so that it
Yes,
will become
the
easy?
school, actually we have a portal for mentors.
Okay.
We call it InnoNet portal. So when the mentor logs in to the portal, they get the list of all the ATLs in their surrounding area. They can select maximum 5 schools, and we then connect them, the mentor, to the schools, and then they can go ahead.
Another is just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You might be aware that the National Council of Science Museums has set up a number of innovation hubs across many science centers, at least the bigger science centers and the science cities. So maybe if those science centers and science cities could be associated with this program, because a lot of hardware is already present. So if they can be associated with this program, they could, for example, in Punjab, at least in the Jalandhar Kapurthala area where we are located, we try and interact with the ATLs in our area. That is how we came in contact with them also. We try and conduct some activities so that the school keeps going. So if there is a formalized, this is we are doing on our own. So if there is a formalized program, perhaps it could be helpful.
It's good that you asked this question, which brings me to an initiative that was launched last week. It's a cluster model, because as I said that managing 10,000 schools from Delhi is not possible. So we are now decentralizing in a way. We have come up with a cluster model where institutes like yours, or the state level innovation hubs, or some have state innovation missions and councils. So we want to create a decentralized approach, combining few districts together, bringing together these people who are in that district working towards this cause, bringing them together and creating a self-monitoring mechanism so that we don't have to do it from there. And ultimately, it will create a sort of a local ecosystem where people are getting connected to one another, and like it solves the problem that you mentioned, and that you are not aware of what is happening, and you are working towards the same thing.
Yes.
But and you are in the same area, but like you are moving.
Yeah.
Separate.
So if it is synergized,
Yes. So
it would be more
it has launched in Karnataka recently.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that soon it will spread to into entire country.
So any other questions or suggestions? Any other questions? So no questions anymore. So thank you so very much. It was really a wonderful, wonderful talk. We really enjoyed hearing, and I think a lot of people will benefit from this also. And a lot of things, as a science outreach person, I would say that a lot of information is disseminated through word of mouth. So I'm sure that all of the people who are sitting here in this room would become ambassadors of what you said, and they can go and not only undertake it in their own school or their own institution, they can spread the word at other places as well. So thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. Meeta Nangia Goswami. I hope she is online. I think we need to check. Meeta is an educationist, development professional, and she has more than 2 decades of experience in project development, implementation, etc., especially in the area of education for sustainable development. She is recognized for her innovative thinking and leadership and her team building spirit. And primarily, she was working with WWF as Senior Program Officer for Community Development, where she was doing environment education work. She also was the director of the Environment Education Division, but now she is an independent expert who is working internationally. Currently, she is at Mongolia, working for the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation. Meeta also is a writer, and she has written a number of articles on environment education besides general articles. It is very kind of her to have agreed to join our program today. Thank you, Meeta. Thank you very much for being here with us. And I welcome you once again to this program, and the platform is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone, and hello, Nilima. Very good to see you after a long time. One correction, I'm not doctor. I'm just plain Meeta Nangya Goswami, and I'm really happy to be here today. And I've actually been quite mesmerized by what Dr. Anil Gupta said right at the beginning of the session. And I think we need so much more thinking and leadership like that. And so what I've been asked to do is to bring experiences, international examples about sustainability education. And of course, we all understand that when we say sustainability education, we mean that we create opportunities for learning and living sustainability, which means that we redesign student experiences so that we help develop, meaningfully develop competencies and mindsets that students can become active contributors to sustainability. Though I was told to get various examples, I thought I would take the example of one school and look at it from all aspects so that we could see how this school had used the regular curriculum but managed to do things differently. They moved away from business as usual in order to meet the demands, the competencies that the future citizens of the planet require, given what the mess that our generation and the one before that has made. So this school is the Drobak Montessori Secondary School from Southeast Norway. It's a semi-rural school, definitely not an elite one, because about 85 to 100% of these Montessori schools, where there are 151 of them in Norway, receive government aid. And what they have managed to do is quite remarkable. What I would like to flag first is about the school building, which was constructed and designed by architects, but with the active participation of the student council. So students are at the heart of everything that happens in the school. And this school building is a power building, and through a course of 60 years, it will actually produce more energy than it uses. There are visitors who come to see the school, and the adolescents, the students, take them on tours and actually charge a fee. And they then manage that finance themselves. In addition to this, the students are part of every council that the school has. And they not only maintain the grounds, cook the food for their lunch, and take care of the animals on campus, but they manage all the financial aspects of these activities. Incidentally, we also have recently one school in Ulaanbaatar now, where the students are part of the procurement committee of the school, so that they keep a sharp watch on what is the procurement policy, what footprint do they have in terms of the resources the school uses. So these kind of innovative changes in the governance of the schools is really very interesting, and we should be looking at these ideas for our schools in India as well. The second thing that I'd like to point out about the school is that it's very non-hierarchical. The teachers are known as guides, and the school leadership, the teachers and the students, they all the recreational activities, they participate in it together, and there is no special teacher staff room, so to say. So it's a very flat organization, and everybody is empowered to speak up and to take part. The school lunch is a very interesting place, activity, because the guides or the teachers and the students actually plan and cook together. And and so this is like for them learning a life skill, and as well learning to work in a team while they are cooking. The school also has a microeconomy because they have poultry. There are eggs that are being produced in the school campus. There's beekeeping. There are seaweed products that are being made from the lake nearby, and also beekeeping. In addition, there's a cafe where students make products and also arts and craft, and which they sell. So it's like a micro economy, and children actually get an exposure to run a community driven economy. And this is all happening in a school which runs from 8:50 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. So, and besides this, what I found very striking about the school is that the pedagogy that they use. The school year is broken up into 4-week periods, and no subject is taught in isolation. Everything is interdisciplinary. And in that 4-week period, they're either doing a project from the natural sciences or from the social sciences. And the pedagogy that is used is a 3-period pedagogy. In the first period, they are introduced to the key focus areas of a particular subject. In the second period, the students deep dive and do more research. And in the third period, through the school day, they actually make a presentation using whatever mode a student is comfortable with. Might be music, might be like a presentation or dance, drama, it's up to them. Then in addition to this, there are reading seminars where literature, art, films, and music are discussed. And of course, this helps develop their language and oral capabilities. So it's a unique way of studying. And what makes it even more unique is that this is done in mixed groups. Classes 8 and 9 work together, and there's peer learning and peer support happening. And even the class 10 students, though they're more academically focused, even they work in mixed groups where subjects like PE, art, music, etc. are concerned. And these adolescents are also responsible for helping in the kindergarten sections. They actively have to take out time to work with the teachers and support them in the kindergartens. What I found very striking was that when the teachers join, as part of their contract, there's a mandatory clause which says that they have to work in the garden. And once a week, they have to work with the local town, or they have to take children either to the forest or to the beach. And that's a once a week activity. So students are actively meeting local people and people from different generations. So there's intergenerational learning happening. They're meeting people and experts from the local town. They're seeing what's happening around them. They're writing letters to the municipality saying there's a problem here, we need bins here, or, we would like to help you clean up a particular area. So this is all happening through the school. And they are actively connecting life and learning to become active citizens. And also the immersion into nature, what Dr. Gupta also mentioned about. That humility that you're part of a very big system, web of life, and that you need to respect and have empathy for all other forms of life. That is also cultivated while doing this. So these are things which each school, if it wanted to think out of the box, can redesign and restructure, because I'm sure every school has that little bit of elbow room where they still meet the national standards, but do things in a way that they optimize the creative learning experience of the student. So I thought I wanted to share this example with everybody. And also, I wanted to bring in another fact, which is actually from our own country. And I believe that organization called Swaraj is also participating in this conference, where they talk about dipping into our local, traditional, indigenous knowledge in order to arrive at sustainability. Because in India, there's no dearth of ideas for sustainability. Traditionally, we lived a sustainable life till the Western narrative and the market economy overpowered our thinking. So, and they talk about 5 things. They talk about what you wear, what you eat, where you live, your dance and music and art, and your language. And they say that all 5 of these aspects of our life, if we look into our own traditions, look at what our grandparents did, what is still happening across various places in rural India, they have a plethora of solutions. We don't need to look elsewhere. And we need to reconnect to this, because these solutions have evolved across thousands of years, and they have evolved in a geoclimatic context. We don't need to wear a tie. We need to wear a cotton kurta if it's hot. So it talks about that kind of fine tuning to our geoclimatic context. And I think our schools need to bring in these conversations into the curriculum and to make it an active part of how children use this knowledge to create their worldview. Because this generation has aspirations, and those aspirations need to be designed according to the finite boundaries of this very precious planet that we call our home. So I think more and more programs like Swaraj should be part of our education system. And that would be, connecting back to our roots and still being innovative. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Nilima, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I still can't hear you.
You can't hear me? How do?
Are
you okay now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. So, well, I think your talk was so succinct and so very informative. Thank you for sharing these wonderful examples, especially the contextualization of the traditional knowledge to modern ecosystem and modern thought process. I think we all do recognize that we need to learn from we need to continue to learn from what we have learned earlier and continue to contextualize it to the modern system. So also, I was really impressed with the school in Norway, the way they have innovated within their own space to bring home the fact to students that they are a part of the whole ecosystem, that they are a part of the whole planet, and they are just a speck in the planet. So that is important learning for our students, for everybody. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'm really, really grateful to you for this.
My pleasure entirely.
With this, we come to the last speaker of the session. We have with us Madam Sharda Ulabatla. She is an educator and an activities coordinator in her school, and an active member of some very interesting things, I would say. Member of We Rise Up for SDGs, We Rise Up for E-Waste, and she has participated in several international collaborative projects, and she runs the SDG Chopal in her school. So she is also a Microsoft Innovative Education expert and a Microsoft certified educator. I welcome you, Sharda ji, and I request you to please share your ideas and the activities which your school is doing. Before she begins, I would like to inform all of you that Pushpa Gujral Science City is running a program called SD Ask, which is Sustainable Development, Attitudes, Skills, and Knowledge. And they are a very important partner in this program of ours. So the platform is yours, Sharda. Thank you.
I just need this. Screen share. Okay. Good afternoon, Lima ma'am, Professor Gupta, my co-speakers here. Thank you so much everyone for being there, and eminent guests who have joined us, creative educators and wonderful students. So we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Nilima Jarat, Director General of Pushpa Gujral Science City, and an education leader par excellence, for obliging us with the opportunity to share innovative practices for sustainability education being practiced at Kamala Nehru Public School under the mentorship of our dear principal, Ms. P.K. Dhillon. So just a small information, I would like to correct ma'am, if I may please. Ma'am, our principal ma'am, she holds the chair, SDG Edu Chopal, which is the education wing of SDG Chopal. This is dedicated to support the national and state governments and institutions on advocacy and community engagement for SDG implementation in India. And I am a part of this institution. So proud to be here under ma'am's guidance. Now this is Kamala Nehru Public School. Whoa, a wonderful place to be. Yeah, here we practice sustainability in education. So our mission and vision statement says the school is committed to work for quality education, which is sustainable development goal number 4. It states that by 2030, substantially increase the number of youth and adults who relevant skills have them, and they include technical and vocational skills for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. Our vision statement says to be a progressive school providing education for sustainable development and global citizenship. So here, during the lockdown, we rose up to the occasion. So our school story has been published by Microsoft, which I would like to share in the form of video. I think we need the sound here. Is it? Yeah.
नहीं, 2 कदम आगे रहना तो फितरत है उनकी। इस जब बाकी शहरों में अनऑफिशियल छुट्टियां मना रहे थे सब, KNPS में माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टीम्स पर ऑनलाइन क्लासेस शुरू हो चुकी थी। देखते ही देखते छोटे से गांव में आसपास के 65 गांव से 1600 बच्चों ने ऑनलाइन क्लासेस ज्वाइन कर ली। अब ये कमाल कैसे हुआ? आइए मिसेस ढिल्लों से ही पूछते हैं।
एजुकेशन किसी के लिए रुक तो नहीं सकती ना। दिसंबर में जब हमने दुनिया की शक्ल बदलते देखा तो हमने अपनी तैयारी शुरू कर दी। फिर वो चाहे टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग हो या फिर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टीम्स पे मॉक सेशंस हो, मोमेंटम बना रहे इसलिए हमने गर्मी की छुट्टियां भी नहीं करी।
आज के इस दौर में हम पीछे तो नहीं रह सकते, वक्त के साथ साथ ही चलना है, चाहे सब कुछ बदलना पड़े। चाहे 7 घंटे की जगह अब दिन के 10 से 12 घंटे लगे या नई टेक्नोलॉजी से दोस्ती करनी पड़े। नोटबुक्स की जगह अब क्लासेस में ऑनलाइन पोल्स और एमसीक्यूज लेने पड़े।
ग्रुप प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए जब सब लोग मिलकर काम करते हैं तब डिस्कशन, हंसी मजाक सब कुछ होता है, बहुत मजा आता है। और फिर जब सारा का एक जगह अपलोड हो जाता है।
So this, not sharing the complete video, but would love you all to go ahead and watch the video of our school. So here we are practicing sustainability education when we say one of the innovative ideas, that is, be it technical subjects or the language, music, dance, art, every subject in our school has been mapped to the SDGs. The whole curriculum is mapped for all the classes from K-12. Our educators are SDG ambassadors, students are SDG warriors, and the partners or our wider community are the SDG partners, parents as well. Sharing few pictures here of our school. These are the SDG warriors receiving badges from our dear principal ma'am. We have special assemblies which are again focused on sustainable development goals. And one of the assembly was conducted for sustainable development goal number 4, where we practice, preach, and promote sustainable development goals in our school. When we talk about another innovative idea, sustainability in education, even the sports day is also themed on the SDGs. The above 2 pictures, 118 students of grade 5 are performing yoga, supporting SDG 3, which is Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Down below the image which is there, it's a 70 feet long poster made by the students of grade 7, where they participated in an international collaborative project, Climate Action. When we talk about sustainability in education, we believe, as one of our co-speakers also said, the project-based learning is the best method to bring sustainability into education. We have participated and initiated several projects in relation to the sustainability. Would love to share a few of them here. The first one being Rise Up for SDGs. It was run from January 2021 till September 2021, initiated under our principal ma'am's guidance. 1,064 educators, 61 countries, and 9,525 students participated in 17 conferences on 17 SDGs, where 131 panelists from 42 countries presented their school story, how they are practicing sustainability in education, sharing best practices. The activities are structured, which are designed and shared with the students from all over the world, all the schools who are participating. Students perform rap, mime, dances. They even make Minecraft world. They are making posters, artwork, poems, articles, write-ups, and many more. Now, the wonderful part is all the contributions of these students are again published in e-newsletter. So we have 17 e-newsletters and 17 virtual art galleries to showcase the students' work. Here sharing one of the art galleries.
T14 Life Below Water. First of all, we have the beautiful artwork from Funlish Language School, Kolkata, India. Marvelous artwork from Kamla Nehru Public School, Fatwara, Punjab, India. Maximum number of submissions from Kamla Nehru Public School. Children spreading the message to save life below water through their marvelous posters and paintings. They created the beautiful and colorful paper boats to support SDG 14, Life Below Water.
So once again, just sharing the glimpse of the videos which we have. When we are talking about holding hand together, SDG 17, Partnership for the Goals. 1,018 educators of Philippines virtually visited our classes online during the COVID times, just to see how we are running the remote learning classes in our schools through Microsoft Teams. About 5 days and 5 to 7 different sessions we had. A glimpse here. And then, as we are partnering for all the goals and we support each other, all educators, schools all around the country, these are the pictures wherein we conducted trainings for the educators of Bangladesh, which was on project-based learning and also on Google Earth for education. And the result was, we at Kamala Nehru Public School received the biggest impact award of the school for 2020-21 for digital transformation in Asia Pacific. Yeah, I can see someone clapping here. Thank you so much for that. And the Asia Pacific countries, few of them are Australia, Japan, China, of course, our own countries there, Maldives, Philippines, Malaysia, and many other countries in and around Asia Pacific. While we talk about the innovative ideas, the next idea we would love to share is, as I said, the students have made rap songs they have composed on their own and they presented it. So here I present Miss Abza Dorbala, +2 student of Kamala Nehru Public School, who composed a rap on 17 SDGs, and this is recorded on the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, their YouTube channel. So just sharing this.
You know who it is? Abza. Listen up, suni hai tumne important cheese. No G's, it's about the SDGs. SDGs, Sustainable Development Goal. बेहतर दुनिया के लिए goals. एक peaceful दुनिया के लिए goals. SDG 17 targets 169 goals for a better world. That's yours and mine. United Nations people and communities. Goals to be achieved by 2030. Cover social issues सारे, चाहे poverty, climate, gender या हो peace. तो आओ सुनो story cause this is about peace and progress for all. For a world that rises high. For a world where people stand tall. गरीबी को हटाना है SDG number 1. Prosperity की surety with no poverty. Starvation के खिलाफ focus is up. Zero hunger is SDG 2. So don't waste food. SDG 3, good health, well-being, good health of mind and the body. Ending diseases इसका aim. जैसे AIDS, cancer, COVID-19. You know the name. You know the name.
All right, so we are talking about innovative ideas, and this is one of the innovative ideas that Kamala Nehru Public School has supported in sustainability education. Moving ahead, the next project that we would love to share here is, during COVID-19, every one of us wanted to upgrade our systems. Now this led to landfills and mountains of electrical and electronic waste. Here we came up with the idea, a project Rise Up for E-Waste, which was initiated by our Ms. Dillon ma'am in December 2021, which ran till March 2022. Once again, we had n number of students collaborating for the project from different schools. We are thankful to all the schools around the world who are collaborating with us in all these projects. So 4,008 students, 340 educators, 37 countries. The best part was approximately 4,830 kgs of e-waste was collected. The project is not only about advocacy, but it is about taking action as well in the real world that we are talking about. Once again, structured activities shared with the students. In return, the monthly meetings are there, wherein students share their participative activities through their teachers with us. And we publish the e-newsletter, which are the precious possessions of the students. Here we would like to demonstrate the Minecraft world that we keep on talking. Look at the creativity of these grade 2 and 3 students.
Inauguration of our factory for recycling e-waste. So let me give you a tour. As you
can see here, this is a mega smelting machine for smelting e-waste. It works like we put...
Hello everyone, I am Aditya Kumar Singh of class 6th from DPS Varanasi. I am from India.
Right, so 2 of the Minecraft worlds were edited here into a small glimpse of the video. Moving ahead, so industry and education collaborated, came together. We shook hands. We are extremely thankful to all these e-recycling partners, Karo Sambhav, Huller Deck, 3R Zero Waste, Trashin, and We Recycling for collaborating with us. They collected e-waste pan-India from many schools who had contributed for the project. Moving ahead, and the result was, once again, sustainability education being practiced at Kamala Nehru Public School was awarded Tech for Good Challenge in the category of Sustainable Development Goal number 3, that's ensuring good health and well-being. So thankful to the Microsoft team, and we are Microsoft Showcase School as well, wherein we are using the tools like Minecraft, Wakelet, Adobe, Flipgrid. These all are well-versed. Our students are well-versed with these tools. Even our parents are, and they love participating in it. The third project that we would love to share here. After the COVID, when the students came back to schools, we noticed there has been a behavior gap. There has been an academic gap. And that is where we opted for two-pronged strategy. And this led to the project initiation, A Road to Recovery, supporting Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education. During this project, it is an ongoing project, and we would love to invite you all to join us in this. We assess the learning losses, rebuild the foundational competencies, literacy and numeracy skills. We are also using design thinking. So as of now, we had 4 episodes of this. Monthly episodes are conducted. Once again, structured activities given to students. And this is an international research project which was started along with the research. 1,413 students survey, 1,421 parents survey, and 299 surveys from the teachers are received. Based on that, the activities decided, and we are moving ahead with all our collaborative partners, supporting Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education. The innovative practices in sustainability that is being followed during this project are class shows where children are reciting poems, story weaving, everything. They are doing it on the spot. The parents are invited to witness their students. After the COVID, how are they going to present their academic skills and their behavioral skills improving, and the communication collaboration we talk about here. Reading coach in Microsoft Teams has been a real support to us, enhancing the reading capabilities of our students. Immersive Reader supports inclusivity in education once again. And we also have the Learning Marketplace, which is also the Sustainable Development Goals Fair. It's once in a year. All the classes are allotted different topics, and they design their classrooms. They research on the topic assigned to them, and they present it to the audience who are arriving, and they share what is their learning throughout this project. Few pictures are being shared here. Here is the video of our e-newsletter for the Road to Recovery project. Okay, a quick glimpse. The themes of Road to Recovery project, as it's a monthly event, are here, which have been conducted till now. Episode 1 was all about podcast. Students recorded their videos, their audios as well, on topics so good as socializing with my friends is Road to Recovery for me. My art, dance, music class is Road to Recovery for me. My playground activities, spending time with my friends after so long is road to recovery for me. They were given chance to speak their heart out, which is again recorded in the Flipgrid. Episode 2 is all about sports for road to recovery. Various sports activities conducted in the playgrounds and the videos were made where students have performed various activities. Strive to win and thrive was episode 3. The fourth one, work together, build a better world. Currently, we are waiting for the next session, which is for episode 5, wherein we are also focusing on reduce inequalities, which is build back better. So here is the SDG wall in our school. And with this, we would like to thank on behalf of Kamla Nehru Public School and our dear principal ma'am, we would love to invite you all to join the projects collaboratively with us. Thank you so much. Let our journey of SDGs continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Sharda. It was if there is a will, we'll always find ways to do things. Any questions from the audience? Just one or two? If there are no questions, I would like to congratulate you and your entire school, your principal and the team. Really nice. That was really, really nice. So you are trying to inculcate education, entertainment. That is, I think, something which kids do enjoy, and in the process, they learn a lot. And congratulations also for being the Microsoft Showcase school of the area. I was really impressed with the work which you have done on e-waste management. So I think we at Science City will learn some lessons from you. So thank you very much. It has really been great. Pratik